Welcome to KIN 370 Stress Management for Healthy Living. This is going to be the best class you're ever going to take. Okay, I may be a little biased as the professor, but I believe this is an incredibly important class. Okay, let's get started. Please print a copy of the syllabus if you haven't already done so and follow along. The first section of the syllabus is General Information. Instructor, I'm Dr. Fish from the Kinesiology and Health Promotion Department and the creator of the online sections of KIN 370. My co-instructor is Professor Terry Spahn. She will be responsible for grading your assignments. Our office locations and office hours are listed there. Contact information. Listed there is a variety of contact information depending on your issue. For issues about accessing the material, contact StressX, where the material is housed. For problems accessing the exams, contact Software Secure, the online proctoring company who will be proctoring your exams. For problems accessing the class homepage on Blackboard, contact the help desk. For questions about your grade or score, contact Professor Spahn. For everything else, contact me. Email information. Number 1, on all email correspondence, always include your first and last name, the class in which you're enrolled, KIN 370, and the section number. Students often say, I'm so-and-so from your online class, but I teach multiple online classes, not just KIN 370, or they provide only their first name and have a question that requires me to look up their work. I need to know your first and last name to look you up, or they fail to provide the section number in which they're enrolled. I teach 3 sections of KIN 370 each quarter, so I need to know which section you're enrolled in if you're going to ask a question that requires me to look up your info. Or they don't provide their name at all, and I have to guess their name based on their email address. So again, please make sure you provide all 3 pieces of information before emailing me: your first and last name and the class and section number in which you're enrolled. Number 2, always forward your original message so I have a reference. Even if you just barely emailed me, please forward the previous message so I know what you're talking about. I may have responded to a ton of emails from the time you last emailed me. Having to ask for any or all of this information creates more email traffic. I have to email you back and ask for the information, then you have to email me back, then I have to email you back with the answer to your question. Going through unnecessary messages is incredibly time consuming because I have over 400 students in my classes every quarter. Most other professors have about a quarter of that. So if you include your first and last name, the course and section number, and forward previous correspondence if applicable, I'm much more able to respond to everyone's email in a timely manner. Number 3, please try to keep your messages short and concise or to the point. With such a large class, this is another one that's really important. Long-winded messages are so much more time consuming because I have to try to find what the student is asking. So there's a much greater chance that I might misread your message or try to read it too fast, and I may not answer your question. I understand that it's frustrating when you email someone with a question and they respond, but they don't answer your question. If your message is short and to the point, there is much less chance of this happening. Number 4, this is a fully online class, so we'll never communicate face-to-face. I found that in online courses, email communication can be a bit abrasive from students compared to students enrolled in my traditional face-to-face courses. This is an actual message from a former student who had a question about his score. Very respectful and pleasant. This is an excerpt from an actual message from another student in the same class who had the very same question on the very same assignment. Her message is actually way too long to include here. So just a friendly request to use the same level of respect and professionalism that you expect me as your professor to show you. In other words, please remember that although we won't communicate face to face, there's still a face behind my email address. Number 5, check your Cal Poly Pomona email or announcements from me on Blackboard. I'll post announcements on the class homepage on Blackboard every Monday morning. These messages are supposed to automatically get emailed to you, but sometimes for whatever reason, some students say that they don't receive the emails. But my messages will always be posted on Blackboard. So if you don't get a message from me on a Monday, please make sure to check for announcements on Blackboard. All of my messages are posted for approximately 7 days before they get taken down. Course description: a holistic approach to stress management, preventing and or alleviating symptoms of stress, and exploration of the mind-body connection. Quick note, I do need to remind you that just because this is a stress management class, it doesn't mean this class is supposed to be stress-free. This is an upper division college level course. Just like other courses, there are assignments and exams and deadlines that can be stressful. This class will hopefully give you the opportunity to incorporate the coping and relaxation techniques about which you'll be learning and help you better deal with stress. But remember, this is a stress management class, not a stress-free class. Prerequisite: upper division standing. System requirements: you'll obviously need access to a computer and access to the internet to take this online class, but in order to take the exams, you'll need number 1, access to a computer with a webcam. You'll take closed note exams from home or wherever you'd like, but you'll be proctored through a webcam. Most laptops have a webcam built in. More information about the exams will be provided in a later video. Number 2, you'll need to check to see if your computer has the system requirements by clicking on the link listed there or copy and paste the link into your browser. Required material. The course materials and the online proctoring fees are all housed within an online platform of a company called StressX. The cost is $45, $30 for the material and $15 for the proctoring of the midterm and final exams. The online proctoring company is Software Secure, but you'll pay one fee to StressX, which includes access to both the course materials and to the online proctoring for the exams. Because I use copyrighted materials, I must use an online publisher so they can pay for use of the copyrighted material. You can purchase a code to access StressX directly from StressX for $45, or you can purchase through the Bronco bookstore, but the bookstore marks up the cost. Unfortunately, you can't share access with another classmate because when it comes time to take the exams, you will not have access to the online proctoring company that will be proctoring you. I've done my best to keep the cost of the course materials under $50. If you're unable to pay the $45, I'm sorry, but you'll need to drop the class. Course objectives. What will you get out of this class? Each course objective is measured or assessed by one of the course requirements. In other words, each assignment has been carefully created to meet each objective. Upon successful completion of this course, students will be able to, number 1, clarify and express personal ideas and opinions pertaining to stress management and emotional health issues, and that will be accomplished and assessed by way of the critical thinking assignment. Number 2, identify personal perceptions or behaviors that inhibit emotional wellness and work to overcome them. That will be accomplished and assessed by way of the book review. Number 3, increase awareness of stressors, your emotional, physical, and behavioral reactions to them, and incorporate coping and relaxation techniques. That will be accomplished and assessed by way of the self-reflection activities and relaxation techniques. Number 4, demonstrate a cognitive understanding of stress theory and concepts, psychosocial and physiological aspects of stress, and methods of coping with stress. That will be accomplished and assessed by way of the exams. Course requirements. Okay, so here's the part that I'm sure you're most interested in. What do you have to do for this class? The first thing you need to do each week is not listed there because it's a given and there's nothing you'll submit for this requirement, and that is go to class. Going to class means listening to the modules. The modules consist of audio-visual recordings of lectures and supplemental video clips on YouTube. One of the biggest benefits of an online class is you get to decide when you'd like to go to class or listen to these modules. Number 1, stress journal. After listening to the assigned modules each week, you'll complete a stress journal that consists of 4 components. Critical thinking assignment. Each week, I'll provide a list of questions pertaining to concepts discussed in the lectures. You'll select a question to which you'd like to respond and provide your thoughts, ideas, opinions, and experiences that answer the question. Book review. This is your chance to tailor this class to meet your needs. You'll choose any book that's related to stress management or emotional health and that appeals to your interest and/or needs. For example, if you have a problem controlling your temper, select a book on anger management. But if you have the opposite problem, not speaking up, read a book on being assertive. Choose a book that will benefit you. Each week, read from your book and jot down a quote or concept that grabbed your attention or stood out to you, and explain why it stood out to you. So the book review does not require you to critique the book, but rather describe what you learned from the book. There are tons of ideas of appropriate books to read and comments from former students on the book review list in course documents. Self-reflection activity. Each week, you'll complete a super quick and easy activity that requires you to do some self-reflection about your stressors and how you handle them. Relaxation techniques. Each week, you'll take your heart rate before and after doing 2 relaxation techniques. Rate your experience and include a reaction statement as to why you liked or didn't like the technique. Just a note about the assignments. I want you to get the most out of this class as possible. The amount of learning and growing and progressing and developing that results from this class is directly related to the amount of time and effort you put into the assignments. I can't emphasize enough enough that what you get out of this class is in direct proportion to what you put into it. If you feel that the assignments are busy work, that's a reflection of you, not the assignments. In other words, it's an indication that you are not taking the assignments seriously and putting adequate time and effort into them. As I previously mentioned, each assignment has been carefully created to meet each course objective. Number 2, discussion board postings. You'll simply copy and paste your assignments from the stress journal to the discussion board for your classmates to view. You may omit any personal information that you don't want to share with your classmates, but you'll submit all of your work for grading on the stress journal template at the end of the quarter. Number 3, exams. You'll take a midterm and a final, each consisting of 50 multiple choice questions. The midterm will cover the first half of the quarter and the final will cover the second half, so the final exam is not cumulative. You'll have 1 hour to complete each exam. A study guide is provided. Every question on the exams is reflected on the study guide. And you'll be required to take a practice exam so you can see how the exam is proctored and know what to expect before taking the actual exam. So there you have it. Those are the course requirements. You're going to do the same 6 things each and every week of the quarter. First, you'll listen to the modules, then respond to one critical thinking question, then read from a book of your choosing and write about something you learned, then complete a self-reflection activity, then do the 2 assigned relaxation techniques. You'll record everything on the stress journal template, then copy and paste everything onto the discussion board. Estimated weekly time commitment. This isn't on the syllabus, but I want you to have an idea as to how much time you'll need to devote to this class. I know that this sounds like a ton of work, but I think it sounds like more than it really is. Here's an example of what you'll submit each week. It comes out to be less than 1 page. The assignment should take you about 60 to 90 minutes to complete each week. This does not include watching the modules. I had students complete a survey at the end of one quarter and ask them how long it took to complete their assignments each week. Here are the results of the survey. So 80% of students complete their work within an hour or less, or within 1 to 2 hours. Those few students who indicated that they put in 3 or more hours each week are most likely those who included much longer responses than what's required. Due dates. Everyone put a star next to this section, or circle it, or highlight it, or put exclamation marks around it. By far, the predominant cause of stress and frustration for myself and for students is because students don't pay attention to these due dates. Do not rely on reminder messages from me. Write down these due dates in your planner or on your calendar, or program them into your alarm on your phone or whatever. Also, please note the message that says everything is due by 11 p.m., not midnight. Can you work ahead? Absolutely. All of the links on the discussion board are available right now. Feel free to complete and post your work as early as you'd like. The exams, however, have to be taken within the week in which they're due. Notice the range of due dates for the exams. Syllabus promise. Notice that there is a syllabus promise due at the end of week 2. This was not listed in the course requirements because it's not worth any points, but everyone must make a syllabus promise in order to proceed with the class. The syllabus promise consists of several statements to which I'd like you to indicate your understanding or promise. The statements come directly from this orientation recording and the syllabus. The syllabus promise is found in the Submissions tab. Click on Submissions, then Syllabus Promise, then Begin. Then click on the radial button next to I promise or I understand. You must complete the syllabus promise or risk being dropped from the class. You need to complete the syllabus promise preferably by the end of the first week of classes, but the absolute deadline is the end of the second week for those who get into the class late. Also notice week 1's posting is due at the end of week 2, the same time that week 2's posting is due. This is so that students who get into the class late have time to post their assignments. But please make every effort to post your first assignment by the end of the first week, if at all possible. Late policy. Absolutely no assignments or exams are accepted after 11 p.m. on the due date for any reason. That's why I strongly recommend that you post or submit everything at least 24 hours prior to the deadline, so that if you have any problems at all, your computer crashes, your car got broken into and your laptop was stolen, your dog died, you ended up having to go into work, your internet connection is down, etc., 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 you'll still have 1 full day to submit the assignments. So many students never adhere to this recommendation, and unfortunately, every quarter, there are a large handful of students who were not able to post their assignments on the discussion board one week or submit their stress journal at the end of the quarter because of a problem that could have been easily rectified if they had given themselves a 24-hour cushion. One last thing about the late policy. Most professors love their job. We love teaching. We love everything about our job except for one thing: students who ask that an exception be made for them, and worse, students who expect an exception to be made for them. And even worse than that, students who get upset when an exception is not made for them. Please understand that it's unethical and unfair for me to accept your work late when your classmates submitted their assignments on time, some of whom made major efforts to submit on time. And it's not only unfair to your classmates, but to literally thousands, not hundreds, but thousands of former students throughout the years who submitted their work on time. Some students say, "But I did my work, I should get some credit for it." The points that you earn are contingent on the actual work you completed, but it's also contingent upon submitting before the deadline. Deadlines are just that. Deadlines. Grading system. Again, the syllabus promise isn't worth any points, but you're required to complete it in order to stay in the class. Notice that each discussion board posting is worth only 5 points. So if you miss a posting one week, it's not a huge deal, but try not to miss more than one posting because those 5 points can add up fast, and those lost points could make or break your grade at the end of the quarter. The stress journal and discussion board postings together are worth 200 out of 300 points total for the class. There are no right or wrong answers for any of the assignments, so it's not that difficult to earn full credit or 200 of the 300 points. Notice that the midterm exam is worth 50 points, and the final exam is worth only 45 points. That's because the practice exam is worth 5 points. So the exams together, midterm, final, and practice, are worth 100 points total. But of that 100 points, 5 are automatic because you'll get an automatic 5 points just for taking the practice exam. Notice that it says postings consist of the stress journal. The postings and the stress journal each consist of the exact same assignments. So in a sense, you get double credit for your assignments. You receive 50 points, 5 points each week just for posting your assignments for your classmates to view, and 150 points, 15 points each week for submitting all of the assignments at the end of the quarter. But again, the postings on the discussion board and the stress journal consist of the same assignments. Grading scale. Your final grade is determined by the point system listed there, not percentages. Your final grade is calculated by the total number of points earned. Instructions. The next section of the syllabus includes instructions for how to do everything. And not only are there written instructions, there are visual instructions within the video tutorials folder in course documents. Please watch the assignments tutorial because there's some important information in that video that's not included in these written instructions. You can review the written instructions as often as needed on your syllabus, but I'd recommend you watch that video tutorial before you get started on the assignments for the first week. This next section is frequently asked questions for both the assignments and the exams. Please read through these on your own. Grading criteria. The next section is grading criteria. There should be no surprises as to how you're graded, and you should have a very clear understanding of what's expected. If you lose points, you'll be provided with numbers that correspond to each criterion. The criteria, or what's expected, is listed in the left column, and the penalty, or how many points you'll lose if you fail to meet that criteria, is listed in the right column. Also, you can check out the good and poor examples of the assignments in the examples file in the course documents tab. Notice the comment at the bottom of the grading criteria. Any academic dishonesty will result in a 50-point deduction for each assignment in which academic dishonesty was found, and you'll be reported to the Office of Student Conduct and Integrity. Faculty are required to report academic dishonesty. It's not an option. We have to report it. The most common type of academic dishonesty that gets reported, unfortunately, every single quarter is number 1, students copying and pasting from other students on the discussion board. Number 2, students copying from former KN 370 students. And number 3, students forgetting that their desktop is being recorded during the exams and navigating outside the exam to view their notes or an internet source. The last 2 pages of of the syllabus contain an overview of the module and assignment schedule. So each week you'll watch the lectures. Notice that each lecture is fairly short, an average of only about 5 minutes. Then you'll watch the corresponding supplemental video. I didn't include the length of the supplemental videos because you have to watch the videos only long enough to get the answers to the questions on the study guide. Some videos might be 15 minutes, but you can get the answer to the question on the study guide within the first 60 seconds. You'll do one self-reflection activity. Notice there are a couple of weeks in which you can choose which activity you'd like to do. These activities correspond or pertain to one of the lecture topics for that week. You'll do 2 relaxation techniques, and you'll complete the critical thinking assignment and book review, which are not included here because they're the same every week. This is an awesome class. As you can tell by the topics on the module and assignment schedule, there are some really good topics that we'll be covering. Stuff that is so practical and applicable literally for the rest of your life. But if you have a problem with strict deadlines and exceptions not being made for you, or if you plan on plagiarizing or cheating in any way, this class is not for you. It would be better to drop the class and allow one of the many students on the wait list to add. And this concludes the orientation recording. What do you do now? Well, number 1, complete the syllabus promise located in the Submissions tab. Watch the assignment tutorial located in the Video Tutorials folder in Course Documents. Number 3, find a book for the book review by reviewing the book list in Course Documents. Number 4, purchase access to the course materials on StressX by following the instructions on StressX instructions in Course Documents. Then you'll be ready to start the class and follow the list on each week. And that's it. Good luck!